Okay, so we continue with this one. Receptors and effectors work together to bring suitable changes depending on the stimulus detected. So receptors and effectors must work together. Coordination is a stimuli detection process by receptors that ends in appropriate response by effectors. So this is the meaning of coordination. For example, so we have sound. Okay, sound then detected by the receptors. Okay, receptors in ears. So this is the receptors. Okay, stimulus detection processed by receptors. Then it will produce the nerve impulse sent to through the sensory neuron, then sent to the brain, right? Okay, then from the brain will interpret and then sent to the effector through the motor neuron. So this one actually sensory neuron. This one motor neuron. Okay, to the effector. So the effectors actually should be hand muscle, right? Okay, what happen if these effectors not hand muscle but maybe foot muscle? So what happen? When you hear the telephone ring, you will answer the phone by using your foot. So this is not appropriate. Appropriate response means the nervous system, the stimuli and also the receptor not coordinate with each other. So that's why coordination is a stimuli detection processed by receptors that end in appropriate response by effectors. So the appropriate response is the using the hand muscle. So this is the meaning of coordination. Okay, so that we can produce appropriate response when we detect the stimulus. Okay, coordination ensures that the overall activities and system of an organism function and are synchronized perfectly as a complete unit. So that's why when we have this coordination, we can detect all the stimulus around us, all the stimuli around us, temperature, pressure, touch, and all other stimulus, even from inside our body also, at the same time, so that we can produce appropriate response and synchronize. So, for example, when you eat, you still can watching television. When you walking, you can talking at the same time. So we can do a lot of activities at the same time because we can detect, okay, all the stimulus around us properly. So this is the importance of the coordination. Okay, if you have this problem with maybe you cannot cannot detect one stimulus, for example sound. Okay, so when you eat, you cannot hear what other people say. You have to eat. You have to focus on eating only. Okay, what other people say to you when your mother call you, you will not listen. You cannot hear, because your nervous system or your stimulus detection not coordinate with your muscle, with your effectors and so on. So this is the importance of the coordination. Okay, the role of coordination and response is conducted by two separate systems. There is nervous system and the endocrine system. Okay, both systems work together to coordinate and control responses. Okay, we proceed with this detection, detecting and responding to changes in the internal environment. So internal environment, so you still remember that we have the stimulus such as blood pressure, blood osmotic, and then also temperature, body temperature lah. Okay, so this example is stimulus from the internal environment. Example, blood pressure increases during running. So we have stimulus here. The stimulus is blood pressure increases during running. So when we run, our blood pressure increase. Okay, so detected by what? Okay, detected by the receptors. Same by receptors. So the receptor's name is baroreceptor. This baroreceptor can be found in the aortic arch, and carotid artery. Aortic arch actually at the aorta. Okay, carotid artery can be found at neck, our neck lah. Okay, so detected by the receptors, baroreceptors, and then it will produce the nerve impulse also. So nerve impulse are then sent through the sensory neurons. Same we use also the sensory neurons to send the nerve impulse from receptors to the integration center. So integration center is the cardiovascular control center in the medulla oblongata. This one we not use the brain because this one actually specifically because brain actually have so many parts, some parts. So this um, blood pressure actually will be detected with the impulse from these receptors or baroreceptors will be sent to the sensory neuron to the integration center. Then the integration center is the specifically is in to the cardiovascular control center in the medulla oblongata. So this one you cannot write brain lah. Cannot. Because this one specific. Medulla oblongata. Still remember what is the function of medulla oblongata? Okay. To control the involuntary action. Right. You have already learned in form 3. So this one. So the cardiovascular control center sends the impulse through the motor neuron to the effectors. Same lah. Using the motor neuron to the effectors. So the effectors react. Weaken contraction of cardiac muscle. So cardiac muscle at hearts lah. And the expansion of blood vessels diameter. So this action here will reduce the blood pressure to the normal range. So this is what happened in the detecting and responding to the internal stimulus. Special internal stimulus because of the integration center is different. Medulla oblongata. Cardiovascular control center in the medulla oblongata. This one we are going to learn later lah more. Okay, just you must remember, same must start with the stimulus. Okay, stimulus here and then detect by the receptors also. The name of receptors is baroreceptors. Can be found in the aortic arch and carotid artery. And these receptors also, baroreceptor will produce impulse. Then send the impulse to the sensory neuron to the integration center. So integration center here, you cannot write the brain because we have specifically integration center, that is cardiovascular control center in the medulla oblongata. Okay, this one will interpret and then will produce impulse also. Then send to the effectors through the motor neuron. And then what happens to the effectors? Effectors will react, will weaken contraction and cardiac muscles and expansion of blood vessel diameter. So this one will reduce the blood pressure to the normal range. So this is what happens when we detect detect the internal stimulus and then respond to it. Okay, produce the appropriate response.